Hi guys, Mike here. I just want to talk a little bit about my little bike alarm slash light system that I do recommend, and I've been using it for a good 2 months now on my e-bike. Now this is sold by a few different brands. The one I have I'll link down below, and a lot of them just vary in just one or two different features. So in my case, when I purchased it, I got it roughly around the price of about $30, which is a great deal. Now, why do you want this? This has a built-in bike alarm. So basically, it comes with a remote, and some packages have more than a couple of remotes. It has a few buttons on here. And one of them is to activate an alarm. So when I press a lock and unlock button, it functions kind of like a car alarm. Now, it works via sensitivity. So it has like multiple different sensitivity levels, I think about 7, and it's vibration based. So if I turn it on, it's going to sound like this, and it does a doo-doo-doo level. A few seconds later, it will make another sound saying that's okay. That means it's alarm. Now, if something moves my bike, or let's say, even a squirrel, like backyard, squirrels like to jump on my bike for whatever reason. I don't have any food in there, and you jostle it around, it'll give a warning sound that is super loud. And I'll show you what that jostles me every time. Now, if you keep moving it again and again, I believe one more time, it gives you the warning sound within you move it again within I don't know, a minute or something. It sets off a full-on alarm, which I'm not going to activate right now, but I might show you a little bit later. Anyways, it's 110 decibels. It's fairly loud, and I really don't want to do this while I'm holding it. So I just press the button to disarm. The range is sufficient. It really is. It's about the range of like a regular car. Okay. Now, that's the bike alarm function, and I'll just say that I have some other cheaper bike alarms. I think they're like $15 that don't have the whole lighting thing. But if you can, and if you have space on your bicycle seat stem, then I recommend this version because it has these lights in here, okay? So it not only does it have lights, but also when you're braking, when you have it on. So I'm going to turn on the regular light source right here. Okay, so this is by default. It's a little blinker. It's relatively light. I think it's like 85 lumens, which is more than enough brightness. But you can also change the way this looks as well. They have different modes: breathing modes, SOS modes. But when you're traveling along and you suddenly brake, you see that turns on. That's a brake light, right? It's an automatic brake light. I'm just showing you, like if you're moving and you suddenly stop, that flashes like that, like a brake light, kind of like a car, right? So that's something that's already built in. That's really cool. And then also you have turn signals. So on the remote control, which you attach to your handlebar, you have left and right. All right, you got left and right that you can use. And if I'm doing left, it's going to look like this, and it makes that sound, which is very noticeable to myself and to people around me that there's something else a little bit different, right? So that's left, and then right. Okay, so it gives a little bit indicator, let people behind you kind of know which direction you're going, right? And that clicking sound is very noticeable too. A lot of times I have this on the back of my bike, but I have stuff blocking this because I got, bags and stuff in the back. At least the turn signal is somewhat helpful too, and plus the bike alarm function. Now, if you want a horn, it's kind of obnoxious, and it's the same sound as the warning sound for the when you activate the alarm. And that's just the big middle button, and that's a little horn, notice. Honestly, that kind of sounds more like a police vehicle, so you may like that or you may not like it. It's definitely not friendly, but it definitely gets people's attention. And unfortunately, I constantly press that button by mistake. If there's, because, when I set the alarm function, I actually take this remote and put it in my pocket, and before I get out of range of it, it sometimes presses, which is kind of annoying. I think that's one of the big reasons why this style of remote is a little bit more annoying, but it's more accessible. Okay, so they sell in different brands and different functions. There's one that has some laser beams that come out on the side, and that right now too is also only $30. That's an additional function. I believe it's sold by Mainland. It's the X5. I have a link down below for that, but it's essentially the same thing. You can pair up to 8 remote controls with this, which I have not done. Most of these kits only come with 1 or 2 remotes. I only got the 1 remote at the time. Now looking back, I might want to get another one. And this has this this whole mount that locks onto the seat post. Okay, now when it's locked on here, you actually can't remove it. So someone can't just pull this out. But if you don't have a locking seat post, someone can technically pull off the seat post, take your seat anyway, and the alarm with it. Or just, I don't know, something. So just keep that in mind with that. It has USB-C charging on the bottom. Okay, and it charges fairly quickly. I believe the battery life is good enough for 5 to 10 hours in various different flashing modes. I've never ridden my bike more than 50 miles at a time, and that hasn't been a problem since I try not to do too much night riding. But you know, it's plenty loud. It's got IPX4 waterproof. It's going to be fine in a regular rain, shower, and storm, particularly since it's under the saddle. And see this alarm function, the horn is down on the bottom, and it's just super loud. Right. Now, there's one consideration you might have about this is that there's only one mount, okay? I would have liked to mount this elsewhere, not just here, because I'd like to mount this on a rack, and that's not included. And the mechanism to mount it really is designed specifically for a stem or a down tube, okay, in most case scenarios. And it has various, I believe it has various adapters. Mine is a 30.4 millimeter for my Venton Adventure bike, and it seems to fit just fine with at least just one adapters or none of the adapters. And it's super tight. They give you the hex tool and everything to install it, and the necessary bolts and screws to install it as well. So I find that it works really well, and I do definitely recommend one of these if you have space for it on your down tube. For very short riders, though, if you don't have any space for it, then I can see how this might not work out for you and that you would need to get something else that fits up here. But for this, having both the bike alarm on here, the lights, the turning signals, and then the horn all in one for under, for $30, it's a pretty good deal. So here it is again, and I'll have links down below to the 2 versions that I've tested. And oh, here's the different lighting modes. So this is the basic one. I press the button again. This is kind of like a breathing one. Press it again. This is another kind of like vibrating one, like a typical bike light, but with a different sequence. Press the button again. And this one is a lot more subtle. It's just a constant light. Yeah, just basic constant light. And this is the emergency blinker one, just like in a car, okay? So you're pulled off on the side of the road, it has a little bit of emergency blinker there, and then finally off. I never remember the sequence, so a lot of times if I'm approaching the bike, what I'll do is I'll disarm the alarm and then press the button presses until I get to the one that I like. And honestly, a lot of times before you do that, I just do the basic one. See, it's just a basic flashing, plus when there's suddenly stop and movement, we got the brake light. Oh, one tip, by the way, and I always forget about this, you don't have to use the remote control. If you just want to go, if you do lose the remote control, you still need the bike light for whatever reason, you can just press this top button over here. That'll cycle through the same thing. What is nice also about the remote is that when you arm the system, it'll automatically turn off the light. Because when it's armed, you don't necessarily need the light on, and that's kind of useful. So it's kind of like a one button press type of deal. Also, when it's charging through the USB-C down below, you plug it in, the lights actually function to let you know how much charge is left. So I am going to power this off now. Well, actually, it actually tells me right now as it's working. You know what? It's actually easier to power this off without the with the remote, because with the remote, once you arm it. So I'm going to arm it now. This indicator right here, this lets you know how much battery life is left. Oh, okay, I'm going to disarm it now. This indicator down here actually lets you know how much charge is left. So it's 4 different levels, I believe. So it's 20%, 40%, 60%, and 80%, or vice versa. Actually, 4 different levels, so it's 25% each. Okay. Once again, that's my bike light and the alarm built-in one for my e-bike right now. I'll have more specifications on the screen. So if you're interested, please check out my link. It's an affiliate link on Amazon. It doesn't cost you anything, and it does help the channel, and I appreciate that. Thanks for watching.